Good evening and welcome to the Weekly Voice, presented by VNN. Bringing you today's top 10 Canadian news stories on May 12, 2025. Let's get started. There's buzz in Ottawa tonight, and it's all about Prime Minister Mark Carney's next big move. Could Canada see a tiered cabinet for the first time? Sources say yes. Carney is set to unveil his expanded cabinet on Tuesday. And insiders tell CBC News the plan may include a UK-style two-tier structure with senior and junior ministers. The idea? Streamline decisions at the top while still keeping a wider team involved. This comes as Carney faces mounting pressure on issues from gender representation to trade barriers. And with Parliament reconvening in just 2 weeks, all eyes are on who makes the cut. It's a mixed financial picture across Canada. The Bank of Canada's latest stability report shows debt vulnerability is easing, but not for everyone. Yes, household debt-to-income ratios are dropping slightly, and mortgage holders look better positioned to handle renewals. But don't pop the champagne yet. The report warns that non-mortgage holders, especially credit card and car loan borrowers, are showing rising stress. And with the ongoing trade war threatening jobs, the risk of defaults is still very real in certain sectors. Lock your doors. Peel Region, crime is spiking fast. Peel Regional Police report a staggering 178 break and enters in Mississauga and Brampton in just the last month. Businesses and homes alike have been hit, with downtown Brampton and Port Credit among the hardest hit zones. Police say burglars are targeting corner lots and properties that appear empty. Residents are urged to stay vigilant, check the online crime maps, and secure those extra locks, because this crime wave shows no sign of slowing. You might think AI jobs are everywhere, but Canada's latest data says otherwise. A new OECD study reveals that while demand for AI talent grew until late 2021, postings have now cooled. Less than 1% of all jobs online are AI-related, and companies are getting picky, focusing on experienced hires over entry-level talent. Data scientists and software engineers remain in high demand. But if you're dreaming of a wide-open AI job market, experts warn the sector still faces serious hurdles. And finally, Canada's corner stores are sounding the alarm. These small but mighty businesses are seeing closures accelerate. 1.5 stores shutter every day, especially in rural areas. Now, they're demanding Prime Minister Carney step in with bold reforms. From cutting red tape to cracking down on black market tobacco, local retailers say the time to act is now. They want the government to recognize their role as economic lifelines and keep these neighborhood hubs alive. The message to Ottawa? Don't overlook the little guys. The Bank of Canada is sounding cautiously optimistic, but there's a warning underneath the calm. In its latest financial stability report, the central bank says Canada's financial system remains resilient despite global shocks like the pandemic, inflation spikes, and U.S. trade chaos. Household debt is down, banks are well capitalized, and markets remain stable. But dig deeper, and the risks are clear. Intensifying U.S. tariffs and weakening global trade could still trigger a downturn and stress-test Canadian institutions. The bank says it's staying vigilant as global volatility looms. A game-changing investment is coming to Indigenous and Northern communities, but can it close the gap? Ottawa's budget 2024 is promising over $9 billion for Indigenous housing infrastructure, with a new Indigenous-led housing strategy at its heart. The plan focuses on self-determination, culturally appropriate shelters, and ending homelessness in urban and rural Indigenous communities. Officials call it the largest Indigenous housing investment in Canada's history. But community leaders say the real test will be how much control Indigenous organizations hold over how and where the money gets spent. Canada's unemployment rate is creeping up again, but is the trade war the hidden culprit? New data shows joblessness rose to 6.9% in April, the highest level since 2017 if you exclude pandemic years. Manufacturing, retail, and construction were among the hardest hit sectors, shedding tens of thousands of jobs. Economists say the impact of U.S. tariffs is starting to ripple through the economy, raising fears that Canada's job market could slide into its weakest state in years if trade tensions aren't resolved. Global oil prices are crashing, but unlike the U.S., Canada isn't slamming the brakes just yet. While American shale producers are cutting rigs and budgets, Canadian oil sands giants are holding steady. Thanks to their long-term cost structures, Canadian producers can weather prices as low as $40 USD a barrel. Experts say this could position Canada to grab more market share as U.S. operators scale back. But with political uncertainty and weak global demand, the energy sector's resilience may still face serious tests. As NATO faces one of its biggest crises yet, Canada is pivoting toward Europe in a major defense shift. Talks are underway for a Canada-EU security partnership, focusing on joint procurement, military tech, and manufacturing. The move comes as U.S. President Trump questions America's NATO commitments, prompting Europe to rethink its reliance on Washington. For Canada, this could mean more business for aerospace and AI firms, but also fresh pressure to boost defense spending and prove it's still a reliable ally. With the next NATO summit looming, officials say this could be a defining moment for Canada's global role. That's all for today's top stories. Thank you for joining us on The Weekly Voice, presented by VNN. Stay informed, stay engaged,